Some weird BC. Hey everybody, welcome to bonus content. It's me, it's Alex, Nobshin, Scott, Tony. Yeah, the people that you've come to expect. Nobshin, what you got? I assume we're ranking something.
It's in the chat.
Okay. Everyone gets to see our filthy chat now. It's Charmander. Oh, starter first tier list. Oh my goodness. Let me look at this. This is everybody? All the starters?
All the stars.
All the starters. Ranking the best starters to the worst starters? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Or the worst starters to the best starters. Let me I'm gonna turn on screen share here. That one. So that way everybody can see who's watching live. Cool. Let's rank some starters, y'all. What made you think of this one, Nobishin?
Your dumb thing from a week ago.
What did I say?
On Twitch.
About the official Pokemon ranking committee. Which will be coming back. Just so you know. We're gonna rotate some people into that.
I'll tell you, it was two things. It was that
Mm-hmm.
and like me like just thinking like I don't think there's a better starter personally, like at least I think than Totodile. I think Totodile is like literally one of the best starters.
He's one of them, but I'm pretty sure Venusaur is competitive #1.
Damn.
But who gives a shit about competitive Pokemon?
Yeah, like this is. I feel like
Totodile's like one of the most universal people that you can stick against, even people that he's weak against because of his dark type.
because he's a tough boy.
Yeah, so I hear and then he's also almost a wall, but also is almost the nuker as well. So he's very good just throughout the game.
Yeah, but we're talking about like these are the original
I'm talking about
first
it, like,
form starters. We're talking about
companions.
yeah, we're talking
not
about
like
I'm gonna take this.
I'm not trying to use these Pokemon. I'm trying to bond with these Pokemon. I'm trying to fuck these Pokemon. Wait.
All right, what? Wait a second. No, I'm with you, Tony. I'm talking about like if I'm looking at this thing, I'm about to go on an
like
adventure.
looking at a tier list and like, you know what? I'm picking Bulbasaur because he's slightly better than Charmander. I'm looking at a tier list and be like, I'm picking Squirtle because he's fucking rad.
Yeah, Squirtle is rad. I think Squirtle is also up there. I don't know if he's S tier.
We agree with Totodile though. I'm not just alone in that.
So I've never really liked Totodile, but I also know I'm like absolutely in the minority of that. Like most people really like Totodile.
Where do you fall on the on how like okay 1 to 10? What would you rank Litten?
Ooh. 8.
Oh wow. Okay, so you're high on Litten.
I like cats. I'm sorry, but like Litten's also not my favorite of those 3 starters. I would say like with time, Rowlet is probably the best of those starters.
Yeah, dude.
Rowlet's the man.
He looks so fucking cute. I can't even get over it.
He's just so dapper.
Look at this motherfucker. He is so dapper. He's got a little bow tie. I love him.
Is this one Scott just dismisses this whole conversation because we're all fucking Pokemon?
Because we're all fucking casuals. Scott, from that perspective, do you have like a standout of like this is like the one Pokemon that I think is awesome and adorable and I would want to hang out with?
I mean, it'd still be Bulbasaur.
Okay. I'm with that.
I like Bulbasaur a lot.
Tony, what about you? I feel like I chimed in with Rowlet.
If there's you just saying like what's the best one?
Yeah, like what's the best one that you just want to hang out with?
Well, I could tell you okay. So hold on, let me look at the list and see what
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. So I could tell you that first of all, Poplio worst Pokemon starter.
I disagree, but okay.
He's like easy E tier.
I'm here to compromise, I guess.
But yeah, man, for me, Squirtle's the best.
Squirtle's the best.
Yeah, the OG Squirtle Squad, 1993 to 2009.
So honestly, the only other S tier one for me and I know he's a new contender, but Scorbunny.
Okay.
I love Scorbunny. I love his
I didn't know who
design. He's the fire starter for this current generation of Pokemon. He's a little bunny.
Is that little? It's the little bunny one.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy E tier.
Garbage.
Now I don't know his name, but the lizard one.
Oh, yes, I don't remember his name either.
but I
I know
remember him being
Sceptile,
cool.
which is his third evolution, but I don't know.
I don't think he's S tier, but I think he's cool.
Which lizard one?
This guy.
The gecko?
Yeah.
Yeah, the gecko.
The thing or the? Okay, those are his 3.
Yeah. I remember Sceptile. Oh, and yeah, there is this little guy too.
Is he cool?
Eh. He's fine. Like he's not a tryhard. But you know, it's hard to succeed in this world if you don't try hard. What about Grookey? Where's the Grookey gang at? I have no opinion on Grookey, so I'm gonna let you all.
I mean, as far as my choices, as far as when I actually play Sword, whenever I get around to doing that, it would be Grookey. But
Really?
Okay. Yeah, that's my opinion. But I'm not really too high on him per se.
Solid B tier.
B tier.
Very neutral.
Neutral. I like it. Yeah.
I will say, Chikorita.
Chikorita's high for me.
Yeah, I don't know where Chikorita would be at, but that one next to him, no way is.
Oh, Turtwig.
Yeah,
Turtwig. Yeah, Turtwig's easy.
It was a sad Chikorita.
Yeah, it is the saddest of all Chikoritas.
Oh, crazy.
Turtwig? You like Turtwig?
What, Chikorita's fucking lame, dude.
Dude, Chikorita is so adorable. Now I've been waiting my whole life to ask you all this, but do you like Mudkipz?
Yeah, dude. Mudkipz.
Nope.
No.
I'm sorry. I had to. I don't know if Mudkip is full E tier, but Mudkip's probably pretty low.
Mudkip is S tier.
A+. It's Mudkip and Chikorita just hanging out.
That's fair.
Let's see. What about Sobble? Sobble's the new one, the other new one.
All I'm saying is right now I think we have too many in
S tier?
I think there should be too few.
So just 3 Pokemon in S tier?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take out this dapper little boy. And I'll take out Scorbunny. I'll put Scorbunny at A+. I like that it's 2 of the original starters, not Charmander, not the one everybody likes, and Totodile.
Charmander fucking blows, dude. I'm just gonna put that.
Charmander gets way cooler as he evolves, I will say.
Dude, you know the episode of the original show where Charmander gets left out in the rain in his tail?
It's so sad.
That's the best episode.
Charmander's at least a B tier.
Yeah, okay, I'm good.
That's when Charmander stops being a fucking asshole.
He was a little bit of a dick, and then he becomes a dick again, and then Ash has to earn his respect. I'm gonna put Sobble.
Charizard is also fucking rude as fuck.
I'll put Sobble next to this cool green lizard man.
Like the whole time, Blastoise is down to fuck. You know, he's like, "What's up? I'm awesome. I got 2 giant."
I found out that my roommate, my best friend Damien's favorite Pokemon is Blastoise.
It's a good Pokemon.
And I'm like, I didn't even know you knew what a Pokemon was. I got so excited. I showed him what Scorbunny was. He's like, this guy's cute. I'm like, I agree.
Is Cyndaquil better or worse than Charmander?
Is who?
Who?
Cyndaquil.
A lot of people like Cyndaquil.
Cyndaquil is pretty cool.
He's mellow.
I think that he benefits a lot from the generation that he comes out of, and just the starters in that generation were.
He kind of looks like Scott.
I don't think he's better. I think he's like the same level at least.
Yeah. Okay. What were you gonna say, Scott, about Cyndaquil?
That's about what I was gonna say.
Okay. Fair enough.
That was an opinion, Scott.
I said it first, to be fair.
Yeah.
Sure.
What's your take on the ones we got left, Scott? You got one for one of these?
Path gotta go down in that E tier.
Yeah, somebody's got to go. Who did you say goes to E tier?
This little cat guy down here.
Oh, Litton. Is Litton E tier really?
Yeah.
Tony?
It's like D tier.
Okay, I'm good with D tier. I like Litton. So I like cats.
Right where Chikorita should be.
No,
Or E tier. E tier's probably better, but
no, this is disrespect. What about Chimchar?
Mm.
Yeah.
I think everybody left except for I call him Hops. The green starter that's left
Okay, yeah.
is C tier or below.
Okay.
So
Where does this guy go?
we can, I don't know. I think everybody but him is C tier and below.
Okay, I'll put him at B for now. I agree. Oshawott is cute. I'll put Oshawott at C tier, just of the highest of them. And Froakie evolves into Greninja.
Well, like Torch evolves to Blaziken.
It's true. Blaziken is rad.
Blaziken
was the
fire breathing kickboxing chicken man. Come on.
Keep in mind, Blaziken was the first fighting type combination, and Chimchar was the next one. So Chimchar, I'll put it E tier for sure. And this dumb pig.
The other two can go in the D tier.
Okay, Piplup and Fennekin, I think is that one.
I think we found out we don't like fire types.
We don't like fire types. This is so crazy too, because I love fire types.
Fucking blow.
Who? Bayleaf? Bayleaf is so awesome.
Bayleaf blows, dude.
Chikorita's the best. I'm sorry that you can't accept this. I'll put Chikorita down one tier because you're full of so much hatred, Tony.
Dude, it's classified as an herb Pokemon. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Some of that good herb Pokemon.
Why is Mudkipz so high? I'm just curious.
Because
He
for the lulz. Mudkip's great, dude. Look at this fucking face. Mudkip's just hanging out.
What's
like
wrong with Mudkip, dude?
I heard you like Mudkip's.
Lit as fuck.
He's a piece of shit.
Why am I laughing so hard?
Dude, you ever seen a Swampert?
Swampert fucks, dude.
He do, dude.
Listen. This is like the one
You
star.
ever
that
seen
keeps
Mega
getting worse.
Swampert, dude? Look that shit up. He fuck.
All right, do you guys want to see where we rank in comparison to the rest of the world?
No.
I do. Go ahead and save this
Listen, dude.
ranking.
The population of Swampert is 87.5% male.
Okay,
Really? Fucking Mudkip.
dude, Mudkip
Mudkip
at the
sucks.
top, like a fucking king. So Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander. This is clear OG bias. The community vote. here.
It's literally like Gen 1, Gen 2.
yeah, it is that.
Well, it's
Where's Chikorita?
Fuck the disrespect, dude.
Ooh, there she is.
Unbelievable.
She belongs.
How is Scorbunny E tier? I hate these people. And Grookey too. Unbelievable. Where's
Hey,
Sobble?
look who else
Sobble's
is at
D
E
tier.
tier? Fucking Poplio, dude. Fuck
Whatever.
that. Fuck that.
Don't talk about my
Super
sweet
fucking clown
son
Pokemon.
like that. One of these days,
Pretty
we're
sure-
gonna do one of these, and we're just gonna get this screaming.
I'm pretty sure if you dig on my Twitter for like 300 tweets back, because I don't tweet very often, you will see me.
But you tweet
fucking
enough.
Dishing the hate on.
Yeah, Jeff Gersman has a shirt with Poplio on it. He loves Poplio. It's the one thing you disagree with Jeff on.
Jeff Gersman loves to be part of that conversation because it's funny. I
Sounds
think
like you're making
secretly
excuses.
Jeff Gersman don't give a fuck about Poplio.
Probably not. You're probably right with that. I'm honestly a little surprised at the community rankings. Literally, it's Gen 1 and Mudkip.
My last tweet was on the 20th of September 2018.
That was over a year ago.
The one before that was the 10th of June 2018. So I use that platform for.
Yeah, you're what they call a big tweeter.
Yeah, true.
You guys,
You know, you got the alerts on. You know when a tweet comes out from me,
it's a big
important.
fucking deal.
It's quality shit.
It's just Pablio trash talk every time. Are you guys ready to start recording?
Yeah.
Yes. See, I don't remember how to podcast. I swear, like, if I take 2 days off at work or if I take a week off the podcast, I'm like, I forget how to do this. Makes me worry about the legitimacy of
Shit, I have
of
to
my
delete
skill.
this tweet.
Tony found some problematic tweets.
Yeah, I did.
It's all right. George Cruz, I'll tell you all a fun story. George Cruz at one point, when, like, I guess it was blowing up, like, that people were going back through people's Twitters and finding maybe problematic things that they said. George went through all of the Irrational Passions editorial Twitters and found something that all of us said, except for Jarrett, of course. And we all had to go and delete tweets. So we were all young and stupid one time.
Still am.
Still am. All right. You guys ready to start recording?
Mm-hmm.
Take that as a yes from Tony.
Yeah.
Scott?
Yep.
On one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We did it. All right. Yeah, make sure I get this. Trico was one of their names. I think that was the little Trico. Was the little lizard guy.
That was the.
That's the gecko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin
That was
Justin likes him. He mentioned it in the chat. Said he's S tier as well. Him and
Now that I know his
Squirtle.
name, I would have put him higher.
Trico, yeah. Sceptile's really cool. Again, just want to throw it out there. That's who he evolves into.
Fucking Mudkipz, man. Like I don't get it.
It's the meme. You know the meme, right? It's like it's literally all it is.
No, I know.
Yeah, there's a
I'm
meme
old,
that's
I don't
just
know these things.
that's just D like Mudkipz with a Z at the end, and that's the whole meme, and like it's just a joke where someone drops a picture of a Mudkip and says, "I heard you like Mudkips," and that's it. That's there's no like originator of the joke.
If the joke is that Mudkipz is a fucking piece of shit, so you shouldn't like him.
But I heard you
Right?
like him.
But I heard that you did.
Yep. That's
So,
it.
I mean, I guess you do you, and here's a picture of Mudkipz.
And here's a picture of Mudkip because that makes you happy. Yeah, that's the whole joke. I think that's why Mudkip is probably up there. It's a whole joke. All right. I have my inhaler. I can do this. I can puff up. Get my PSP on. Was there really an end of the Vita sale?
No.
Okay, good.
It was the end of the year sale, and Wario made a joke saying it's the end of the Vita sale.
See, you knew exactly what I was talking about, and you had the answer.
So-
That's exactly why I asked you.
God, I'm a weird man.
No, but I love it. I love it. You would do the same thing for me, or I would do the same thing for you. Yeah. All right. It is Sunday, December 15th, 2019, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I'm Alex O'Neill, your host for this podcast that we're about to do together. You and me, listener, together. Me talking, you listening. And joining me this week is Scott Guthier,
Hello.
Tony Horvath,
I heard you like Mudkipz.
and Brian Nobishin Jackson.
I was literally about to say that. but-
Hey, got him.
All this time, Tony's been saying what Scott says, but this time he said what Nobishin was going to say. Twist. Welcome back. We had a week off. I would say unplanned week off. Usually we know a little bit ahead of time if we're going to take the week off. But I had a lot going on, and here we are. But we're back. The Game Awards happens. Video games have happened. We've played some video games. And we have some video game stuff to talk about. So new Xboxes has happened, has been unveiled, announced, named, whatever you want to say. And we got some bets to go over. It's going to be a good show. I'm hoping my goal, just let you all know, let all the listeners know, chill show. I'm looking for a chill show. But we'll see. We'll see if we can attain that. I do want to start, as we always start, by talking about the video games we've been playing, though. I would like to kick things off this week, if that's all right. I played some video games.
Go ahead.
I love it's fine. Whatever makes you happy. I played more Dark Souls 3. I started replaying Control. Not a lot to say about Dark Souls 3, just by the way. It's a cool game. Started replaying through Control this week, and that, I don't know, that's been a really good experience for me. I know you finished it this week, Nabishin. What did you think of it?
I like it a lot. I like it a whole lot, actually.
Where would you put this in your Remedy games? Like, is this one of their best, one of their worst?
It's obviously one of their best. Like, it's really one of the best games. That it's one of those things where it's like, you watch a developer for a long time, and it's like you see you like make a couple of mistakes, but like I know you'll get there someday, and like this looks like they finally have something like truly special because it's like it's so them and it's so unique for what it is. Everything feels good. Like literally, like the only criticism I have of the game, like really, is just more of just like the collectible aspect of the game. But like it's a game that like I don't understand, but like I don't understand in a good way. It's like what I mean when I say I don't understand, like like there's a lot of ambiguous stuff in the game, and like, but it's ambiguous in a good way, where it's like it makes you think a lot and it makes you like speculate and guess and like come up with your own theories. Not that you'll actually get an answer, but like this is what makes sense to you and it feels good that way. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like replaying it, especially there's a lot of undertones and kind of foreshadowing that I really missed the first time I went through it. I feel like it's making me feel like the first time I played it, I wasn't paying attention, but I know that's not true, and I played like a lot of that game with headphones. Now I'm playing it fully with headphones, like listening and kind of just trying to immerse myself more in that atmosphere, just because it is so atmospheric. Are
you reading all the stuff?
I'm trying to. I read most of it the first time around, so now I'm rereading anything that maybe didn't fully click with me before, and my favorite stuff, and anything I missed, obviously. They updated Control with the first kind of DLC. It's a free DLC. It's like expansion is what they call it, but it adds like a new area to the game, like a new kind of repeatable, almost roguelike mission that you can do over and over again for better and better loot. And it seems like there's kind of like a main story mission added on with it of you trying to find this kind of excavation team. So I don't know if there's going to be like a narrative payoff at the end of it, but the kind of formation is the area that it's added, and you access it through this magical jukebox. And it's cool. It's a new look. It's a new vibe. It's very like Starry Night Sky. Kind of feels outdoors in a weird way, in a way that none of that game otherwise does. So I only like dipped my toe into that because I kind of got to where you can access that in the story and then did it once, but I still have to go back there. But it was cool. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, and maybe that's just inherent to like the kind of story that they're telling with Control, but playing it again makes me feel like I didn't appreciate a lot of the best parts about it the first time. I loved it the first time. So I'm loving it even more this time around. I'm better at the combat, because I had finished the game and kind of gotten through that last bit where you really have to throw everything that you have against the wall to win. So I'm having a great time just replaying that game. It's a bummer that if you restart that game, it deletes your save. Like there's no multiple save states for that. So I have to finish it again to do post-game stuff again. But even still, like I like so much of what that game is, and replaying it, I'm really glad I just sat down and gave it the time, because I'm like way more into it now than I was when I first played it, and I was really into it the first time I played it. So yeah, I really like Control, and I know you'd finished it, so I was just curious what your final thoughts on it was. Do you think that's going to be a top 10 game for you?
Oh yeah, it's like already like probably like top 3, maybe even 5.
Yeah, it's number 3 on my list. So I was just curious. Yeah, Yeah, because I know you like Remedy, right? I did you finish Quantum Break?
No. There was just something about that one that this really didn't like I don't know, it just felt too stiff to me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because like
going
Alan
back,
Wake is like the stiffest game ever.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
like
but there's like the kind of, I feel like the circle on the flashlight weirdly made that work. I know that's like super specific, but maybe you understand what I'm saying. Like there's just like a kind of click to the combat in that game that makes it feel less stiff.
Sure.
But having gone back and played Quantum Break after playing Control, it's like, yes, stiff is exactly the way to describe the kind of feel of that game.
I heard this on the spoiler mode just because I wanted to hear it. There's opinions other than that, and like get a better understanding of the game. But like,
it's a good spoiler mode. You're good.
Yeah. Do you think like Alan Wake's flashlight is an object of power?
No, I don't. I think
I think it's just an object of great power.
It's an object of great power with great responsibility. No, I think like what's great is you can put Alan Wake in the rule set of Control, and you can do this with Quantum Break as well, actually. And in Quantum Break, there's a chalkboard that's written all over the chalkboard is AWE, and it talks about altered world events and how they might, very good stuff. But if you put Alan Wake in the kind of format of Control or in the rule set of that, I think like the creatures that were affected by the threshold in Alan Wake, that people possess, similar to the Hiss and how they possess people here, and they can kind of be killed by conventional weapons, but they have kind of supernatural powers. The dark creatures that were like people taken by the darkness, were just susceptible to the light. And that was like a part of our world that wasn't a part of the threshold or the world dimension that they came from. So that's why that works. Because it's not just the light the flashlight that can break their guard. You can use flare guns and other things, and that'll affect them in the same way. So,
right.
But that would be cool. Again, they talk about it in Control. The light switch is more than likely an object of power. Because it has a single purpose, right? Or it can do a single thing on and off, and like they talked about like the rules of objects of power and stuff like that. It's such a good game. I love like when you're in that world that you can like see how everything fits together in a really cool way. Did you like all the Alan Wake collectibles?
I didn't really find it in my gameplay when I first played it, but then like after I beat the game and I remember you talking about like some Alan Wake Easter eggs there, so I went and looked it up.
There's a ton of them.
So like I was like I enjoyed that. Apparently there's an Alan Wake DLC coming soon, so yeah.
The AWE expansion has like it's a shot of Jesse and then a shot of Alan Wake in the forest holding the flashlight. So we'll see. The other thing I've been playing over the last 2 weeks that I want to talk about is Life is Strange 2, which finished. I don't know when the last episode came out. I think it was maybe the 7th of December, but recently. And we'd been talking about it in Nabishin. Like, obviously, I think we brought it up multiple times when those episodes have dropped throughout the year on this podcast of like, hey, are you going to go in? Are you going to jump in? Are you going to wait? And I'd always said I was going to wait. And then honestly, like I was at a point just like with how I talked about it on the last episode we recorded of like I'm kind of in a rut right now. And I would say I still kind of am. Maybe I'm getting better, but I just didn't really have any intention to play Life is Strange 2. And I don't know what it is that I saw in particular that set me on to do it, but I saw somebody say something and I was like, listen, if you like the first game, you need to play this. And I had that kind of internal conflict of like, I really loved, like this was my game of the year for 2015 above things like The Witcher and things like that, because like this very personal story really resonated with me.
I don't think I've ever heard someone say that.
Yeah.
That phrase in particular, like if you
like the first
game,
yeah. And I hadn't necessarily heard that either, so maybe that got me curious, whatever it was. So I sat down and I played it. So I played. I think I played it in a few different chunks. It is long. I think it's generally like a lot longer than the first Life is Strange. Like each individual episode feels closer to like 3-4 hours than it does like 1-2 hours. Which I don't really remember. Nabishan, maybe you can remind me if like that sounds right. But that first episode is long and it's really heavy. Like I cannot stress enough. Like when I do fully recommend most people play this game, especially if you're American, just in general. But it's really heavy. Like it's really tough. Sometimes like it was really hard for me to like keep going, just because of, they went a very different direction with the tone. Like it is like way more like the odds are against you, and it feels like everything's kind of falling apart a lot. Like generally the story is two kids, a 9-year-old kid and a 16-year-old kid, on the run from the authorities, throughout the United States. They start in Seattle and they're trying to get to Mexico. They're trying to escape the country. Like all that's set up in that first episode, and I think that's like the general set dressing of the story, but it's like where it goes from there and the people you meet along the way. And it like, I think weirdly enough, I understand what Don't Nod was going for with Life is Strange as like a brand, as a concept, more after playing this than I did the first game, where I think the first game was a lot about the people that you meet, how the world is smaller than you ever give it credit for, and how people are connected in ways that like they always seem to find each other again. And like that's a lot of Max and Chloe's relationship and what goes on there, and even them coming together. But also like, hey, there's superpowers in this world. We're never really going to explain where they come from, why they happen. They're here and they are devastating and they have consequences, and you just have to kind of deal with that. And Life is Strange 2 does a very similar thing, but like does not pull punches at all. And it's, I don't know. I don't like it's one of those things where I don't want to say too much about it, because if I told you about little individual things that happened to me, I think that would reflect how you would play that game knowing that. And it's better to not know how significant the consequences for things that you do are, because it's better to be surprised by that, or like to infer naturally while you're playing it, like, oh, if I do this, like a thing that I've had to think about a lot of, like, if I do something as Sean, the 16-year-old kid that you play as, if I do something as him, like, and Daniel sees me do it, his 9-year-old brother, like, what is that going to tell Daniel about what he can do in this world? And like that shit matters, and it comes back a lot, and they did that like really well, and they did it really right. It's it's kind of like the Witcher thing that you and I really like, Nabishan, but like I would say done way better, which is saying something because it's done really well there. But it's just like that's what this whole game is about. We build a whole game about like how your actions will affect your family, and these people that look to you as like a example provider, like what kind of example are you setting for them, and what is that going to turn them into? It's really cool. And moreover, like the story, just like the base story of these two kids just like going through the absolute worst, like they're Hispanic and they are met with racism a lot, but not all the time, like it's powerful. It's like humbling, I think, in its best parts. And it's like, I finished it last night and I was like a mess. And I know I cry a lot, so like whatever, I totally get it. I'm a more sensitive person, and I like to get emotional about things. But like I was really blown away at the end of Life is Strange 2. I described it to our Slack of like, I haven't cried this much since I played Kingdom Hearts 3, which wasn't that long ago, but also I cry a lot. So, yeah, it like, oh man, I can't, like, I want to talk to people about this, but I can't right now. That's like where I'm at. But yeah, I think you should try it, Nabashin. I don't know if it's gonna work for you in the same way. Like, I think like you, like I think of like you and your nephew in a lot of cases of like the relationship here of like being someone that this kid has to look up to. I think like you have a lot of relationships in your life that this is trying to emulate. So I think you would maybe be more critical of some of the things that it does. I really don't. Like I'm the youngest of 3 brothers, right? I don't have a younger brother. I've never had to really take care of a kid ever. And so like there was a lot of fuck ups on my part that happened, and like they educated that experience, and like I saw myself getting better at it as the games, like the episodes went on, and that experience for me as a whole was like really intimate in a similar way to like the first Life is Strange between Max and Chloe, like that relationship and how that built up as like maybe it's a little romantic or maybe it's not, you know, depending on how you play it. And it was for me, and it was like this kind of sexual discovery story in that game, and this is way more of like a discovering how you want the world to see you. Yeah, I could say a lot of good things about this game. I really loved it. I think it's worth everyone's time. If you were on the fence, I think you should play through the first 2 episodes. And if you're not hooked, if you're into it, give the 3rd episode a shot. If you're not hooked by the end of the 3rd episode, I don't think there's anything that's going to do it for you. But I was way in by the end of the 1st episode. So,
I mean, like other than like Walking Dead season 2, I don't think I've dropped something like that as far as like an episodic type of thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, like, to be fair, Walking Dead season 2 is like really, it's like back and forth. There's extreme highs and extreme lows, and I think that makes it more a thing to drop just in the moment. Whereas I feel like Life is Strange 2 is of a consistent quality all the way through it. There's no bad episode in this, I don't think. They're all different and they're all great. And there's like a lot of time that passes between episodes story-wise, unlike that first game. And it works for this game, and it made me feel bad, like that I wasn't kind of playing it as they were coming out, because I think I might have liked it even more if I had done that. But I still had a great time with it.
Is it a better game?
Like on a technical level, yes. On a writing level, yes. Like I think yes, face value.
Like objectively, but like not like.
But I think like the story they're going for here is so different that like there's a very good chance that it's just not going to hit with you the same way the story of the first one did. And it's funny because it does similar things, like I said, of like kind of like people in your life coming back into it in weird ways or reconnecting with people you've lost and stuff like that. But it's different. It's equally as good in different ways. If that's like yes, it is better in every way, as like, hey, this is like a PS4 or Xbox One game versus like a kind of PS3 game that was also on like PS4 or Xbox One. It runs better. Like the lip lineup, the lip syncing is way better. You know, like
right.
all those technical, and it looks amazing. It's very pretty. Again, very much in that art style. It's simple looking, but it still looks great. And the moment-to-moment writing isn't as cringy, I would say. There's some of that here, intentionally so, for sure. But
no one with like a Latino accent or something like that.
No, like that doesn't happen. And it's like it's really crazy because like that whole game, like, you know, Sean speaks Spanish, Daniel kind of a little bit speaks Spanish, but like you don't meet any Hispanic people until like later on in that game, and it's like that feeling of like what that is like to like talk to somebody who's like empathetic to you, who's like gone through a similar kind of racial struggle to you, who's probably been discriminated against for sure, and they're like, there's a lot of scenes where that like comes into play and they're kind of bookended with each other. Like this scene happens right next to this scene of like someone discriminating against you versus someone trying to help you. It's like, oh man, the stuff that they evoke in this, like emotionally wise, empathy wise, like is really, really, really good. And they don't abuse it. Like there's not too much of any one thing, I don't think. It's really good. Like I know I feel like I'm talking around it a lot, but I really just don't want to say too much of what happens in that story. Like, so Chris, the kid from Captain Spirit, comes back into episode 2. Like that's where that crosses over. And I was playing this on Xbox. When you are about to start episode 2, it stops you if you don't have a Captain Spirit save and says, hey, if you played Captain Spirit, this next part is probably going to be way better for you. And it's free, so you can download it right here, which I thought was great. It was a good look. Preserving the experience, Nabishin. They were trying to protect me. I played it on PS3 a couple of times, or PS4. So I downloaded, replayed that really quickly. Had like a couple of different things happen, and then like it played. Like they bring that character into this story, and it's really great. Like again, they had the way that Captain Spirit thematically ties into Life is Strange 2 as a whole is really great. And when I played Captain Spirit, like totally didn't see coming. And yeah, it's really great. It's powerful. It knows what it's doing. I don't think it flubs the message. Like I really don't think it falls into tropey trap territory for the sake of having an easy out of certain situations. And like the thing that they were trying to do is like tell a really great story, tell a very relatable story about like, you know, like people being kind of scapegoated for things that they never did, particularly because they're of a different race or of a different ethnicity or from a different place or like from outside of this sphere, outside of this bubble, coming into like foreign territory, and also like just this really beautiful relationship with these brothers, like who lost their father, like trying to figure it out, you know, trying to figure out life. So it's very good. You should play it.
It's interesting though. I'm just like thinking about it, like, because I think Blessing was the same way too. Because when he played it, like he kind of just dropped it as well after the first episode, and like I think it's pretty much just like an Undertale Deltarune type of thing, which I haven't really finished Deltarune for kind of the same reason. Was like the original game is like so special to me, and like just expanding onto it without exactly the same thing, but like kind of the same thing but different. Like I don't know, I don't know if it scares me, but it's just like something I'm off about. Where like Before the Storm was like full in, and like I love that experience completely. So like
I'm like my headspace I think is where you're at, and I think I felt that way even in the 5th and final episode of like, I like this a lot, but it is different, and I don't think I like it as much as what they did with Life is Strange 1. And like that, that's a totally different thing because like you're the kid with the powers, and like the story is more about the power, I think, where like the story for you as Sean, as the kid without the power, is like wrangling that in and taking accountability for the things that happen around that power and everything that happens with it. So like there's certainly intent there, and I think there's also disconnect, and that's fair. But like I had that feeling through episode 5 up until the end, where like when I had seen the whole story kind of come together, I realized how like, oh, this is like equally as significant to me as like the Chloe Mac story, for very different reasons. And it you know, it plays out very differently, and like there's a different relationship, there's a different dynamic, there's different ups and downs, like different times where I was like, really frustrated with this other character, and I don't even know if I like them anymore. And like coming back into that, like again, like the things that like I've gone through with my actual brothers, you know, and it's really cool. I think that's fair, and I think also like if you play through Life is Strange 2 and ultimately feel like it didn't get to the same high as Life is Strange 1, I would be surprised, but I get it, and I think that's okay. I think it's just like taking what they're trying to do in this sequel and like the way that it's trying to reference and incorporate some of the same themes and appreciating that for what it is instead of trying to focus too much on the world around it. I will say, like, it's not very referential to the first game, but the ways in which it is really cool.
Cool.
And like, I got super stoked every time. Like, oh, like this is like a callback to that. Like, oh, that's so cool, and I felt really good about it. There are even times where like I got a little choked up about it. So, yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one. Like, I really don't know if it's worth your time or not. That's the thing. I would say to you specifically, Nabishan, I would say to most people, like, try it out. Just give it a shot. It's really heavy. It's just like I would understand if someone said like I really don't think I can play this right now because it's like too dark. Like, I get it, and I think you need to make that call early on. After that first episode or not. Like, I don't think it ever gets darker than the first episode, but it revisits that level of darkness frequently. And does not pull any punches. Like, if you are uncomfortable with racism, you shouldn't play this game. Or maybe you should, because it will throw it in your face in a way that, like, not a lot of people are exposed to, I think. And you, like, if you're like educated and you're like young, more than likely, I think you're aware of some of the things like that happen in the ways that they do and how they're portrayed in this game. It's like, oh yeah, I know what they're evoking here, but like it's fucked up. Like, it is not easy to be present for those scenes, regardless. So yeah, but Life is Strange 2, it's absolutely stellar. It's like it's one of those things where I don't think this is my game of the year. It's not my number one. It certainly, I think, should be on my list, and I'm gonna have to rearrange my list now. But I'm really happy I played it, and I don't think I'm ever going to forget this story. So,
cool.
That's all I've been playing, though. I really just want to talk about that and clear my feelings. I've been bottling this up for so long. Nabishan. Video games. What you got?
Yeah, mostly just Control because I wanted to get that wrapped up. But like there hasn't been really too much of anything else. Like still a little bit more Jedi Fallen Order. Not too far in that. Like it's interesting going between that and Control because like they feel like somewhat the same game as far as like not. Like, it's weird because like I would say like Control's like a better quality, but like at the same time it's like they suffer from a certain level of jank. Like the jank in Control is just like the frame rate and stuff like that. That's the performance of it. But like the jank in like Fallen Order is like the actual like jank, the literal jank of that game. So like but it's still enjoyable. I still think it's a really good game. I don't know, like yeah, like I just need to spend more time with it, and like
how deep into it are you?
Not too far, like maybe like I'm still like on the second world that I went to,
the one that supposedly has like the Jedi temple on it or whatever.
I guess I don't know,
because like you start on that the like the tutorial world, right? And then you go to like the Jedi Temple world, and that's, I feel like, where like the game really starts. And then they're like, all right, now we can go to these different planets. So if you haven't like gotten the galaxy map or anything yet,
I did.
Okay.
It's like this is a world with goats. I don't know.
Yeah. So Zepho, yeah. So you have Zepho and Dothamir are the two places you could go, and you went to Zepho. It sounds like. So yeah, that's like, I would say that's where it starts to kind of open up. Did you get the force push yet?
No.
Okay, cool. That's the make or break moment. I found that Jedi Fallen Order just kind of got more janky as it went on. Like, it just gets worse. It doesn't get better type thing. And that's the thing that bummed me out the most about it. I feel like Control, like, the frame rate stuff is really the only thing I ever really had happen, but I never, like, fell through the environment or...
Oh no! Like I said, like as far as like quote like jankiness of it, it's just a performance thing.
Mhm.
Like it's like every time you pause Control and like
and unpause it.
It takes like a good 3 seconds
like,
or 4 to get it started.
Yeah. Which is weird. Still weird that hasn't been figured out, and I'm sure it's like some memory leak or whatever that they don't know how to solve. But it's wild. I saw there was a Twitter thread that one of the programmers on the Outer Worlds tweeted out how they found and fixed like this game-breaking bug. I don't know if you saw. I retweeted it, Nabashin. I don't know if you saw it, but it was the craziest thing and it was just humbling and another reminder of like, man, it's really difficult to fix bugs in these games. But like, I guess when you were on your ship, if you started dialogue with any of your companions while one of your other companions was on a ladder, they wouldn't be able to get off the ladder until after you finished the dialogue because of how the game is scripted. So if you talk to that person for too long, they would get off this invisible ladder, they would climb into the space and then fall to their death and die. And the game was misregistering those characters as dead. It's like, how you figure that out, how you get there, how you solve that problem is amazing. So games are hard.
Yeah.
Anything else outside of those two?
I can't really think of anything else. Like I still want to play AI.
Somnium Files,
I'm definitely going to play that before the end of the year. Because I really just want to get into it and just wrap myself with that. I want to go back to Astral Chain and try to beat that as well. Yeah, I'm just like really just like trying to think of like other stuff to play now.
Your
Cause
cleanup games, yeah.
Yeah, and like it's been like fucking 9 months, and like and I actually like playing video games again. So like I've been playing video games all this week, so that's like I'm like, man, I'm really enjoying this again. And
That's
it's
awesome
like,
though.
Yeah, I'm glad I finally got over my kick. A good timing too. Because 2020 is gonna be a motherfucker. But
Kakarot, dude, are you in?
Yeah, I'll play it.
I'm in too. I'll play it.
It's the Tenkaichi style of fighting, which I'm not a big fan of, but whatever, I'll play it.
It's got RPG stuff too. That might be cool. We'll see.
That's the reason I'm going to get into it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, you texted us asking for like games to play. So if anybody listening, I would say, unless you don't want to open up the gates here.
I forgot about Katana Zero.
Katana Zero.
I played like 2 hours of it. That game's cool.
The game's really cool, right?
Yeah.
It's got a dope style too. It's got good music. Obviously, the storytelling is really cool too. It just gets cooler. Also,
is that game like super short?
It's not super short, but it's pretty short. I would say like
maybe 4 hours,
4 to 6 hours.
Okay.
I went back and did some of the challenges and extra missions and unlocked and did like different ending type stuff because it can go different ways depending on how you play it. And that took me like 9 hours total. Like it's the overall amount of time I spent with that game, and I had a great time with it the whole time. It was like right at the end where I was like, okay, I'm kind of over this. Like I'm done dying over and over again in these rooms. And that was like me cleaning up. So yeah, I like it doesn't overstay its welcome at the very least.
Okay.
It's cool. It's just like that's another one where you kind of don't know what's going on until you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Much like Control. Cool. That's a really good one. I've been trying to think of like little things that might be cool for you to play, but like I'm not necessarily like Sparklight was the other big indie game for me this year. But I don't necessarily think that would be your jam. Options.
Yeah, I think I'll maybe try Baba Is You because like I've heard about that at the beginning of the year, but I never actually played it myself.
Yeah, Baba Is You seems
I actually never even looked at that game. Not thinking about it, so like
you can go back to Sekiro.
That is something to do, honestly. Yeah.
I think that would be cool. It would be weird though, like I still think like Devil May Cry 5 is going to be like such a high point for you this year that maybe going to Sekiro just wouldn't do anything for you. But it's
I mean, it's a little different way. Like I guess like Bloodborne and stuff like that.
yeah, it does cool stuff like Bloodborne in a similar way. So, yeah, I'll keep thinking about it. But if you want to open the gates, the listeners, if you think of anything that an option has to play from the last 9 months, add an option 186. Let's do it.
Like I got bought a lot of games. It's just like I almost bought every game, I should say.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
true.
Just haven't like played them.
Now you can just download them, boot them up, and get wild.
Well, they're already downloaded because I got big hard drives.
That's true. You got big hard drives. Nice, dude. Anything else you've played for this in the last 2 weeks for this show?
Yeah, no, I don't think I've played other than anything. Mostly just Control.
Okay. Scott Guthier, video games.
Just a bit more League and WoW.
League and WoW. Are these like? Tell me, Scott. Are these like comforting games for you?
Roughly, it is more or less. It is much harder to get a bunch of people into a new game than it is to pick up an old one everyone already enjoys.
Yeah, of course.
So it is a good reason as to why the multiplayer games last much longer than or it's a good reason why some multiplayer games last much longer than others.
Yeah, we still gotta get you to play Luigi's Mansion 3, Scott.
Yeah,
we gotta fix the
that'll
Switch
happen within the week or so.
Okay, good. Just because like
Well, not by the next time we record, but after that.
okay. Just because like I know like it's not your fault that you can't play that game. It's just like I would really like to hear your thoughts on it. It's very much got Scott Guthier written all over it. I had another question, but I think I forgot it. Anything you want to add to League, WoW, Classic? Any big news, big updates?
I guess the only thing for WoW is World PvP died.
Oh, it came and it went.
It came and it went because Battlegrounds are here.
Oh, is that like the dedicated PvP areas?
Dedicated PvP areas. You get up, you join a queue, and it's cross faction, so the queues are immediate.
Oh wow, yeah.
So you can pretty easily, if you're just here, if you don't really feel and you kind of just want to PvP, the second that you hit, well, really, you can PvP from 0 to 60.
Wow.
And just go at it. Like,
That sounds fun though.
The only issue here is you can't get gear just by PvPing.
Otherwise, it would be broken, right? For the people that are just PvPing all the time.
I mean, kind of, sort of. In general, although PvP gear is a little better for PvPing, you can go back and forth with into raids with PvP gear and into PvP with raid gear and still be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Versus somebody who is partially geared.
Is it one of those things where like it puts everybody on the same level for PvP?
Oh no, not at all.
So everyone's just like all over the place as they would be.
Everybody's all over the place. If you queue up at 60, there's a good chance that you might have a couple of 51s or 52s in there.
Nice.
So it's all over the place, and the good thing is, yeah, it's fine.
If it works, like if there's enough people.
There some people can get away with the 2v1, but more. You can just as easily be a mage going into 2 warriors, and it doesn't matter how geared either of you two are. The mage can polymorph 1, kite 1 down, polymorph the second guy again, and then kite him down once his cooldowns are back up.
Very cool. So it is just like, does it feel like a totally separate thing now because of the kind of PvP mode?
Well, I don't want to say that world PvP is gone,
Mhm.
because it's back to people that are questing that find each other of the opposite faction. They're probably gonna kill each other
Yeah.
because like you joined a PvP server. That's what you do there.
Yeah. It's the whole point.
Yeah. But the giant raids of camping flight paths and not being able to quest because everybody's trying to farm honor. And at that point, when I look at how much honor I got versus what they could have been getting from doing that, um, for kind of no reason.
Yeah. It's it seems a
It's
little silly when like I guess everyone's game is being ruined by this group of people or whatever. When now like there's
well, it's to be it's you could do that all week and farm honor, and you'd get something like 10,000 honor out of it. In like this week alone, I spent about 3 hours in Alteric Valley, and I have almost 100,000. And I'm not talking about the people who spend their time at 60, like an hour or two a day, out doing that. I'm talking about the people uh, who who spend every day that every waking hour that they do not have to work trying to farm honor.
yeah.
Like 10,000 is decent.
It's like all the people I know that play Destiny with PvP. They're just like in that all the time.
Right. So yeah, it makes that whole thing silly. And that's why I kind of said it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
Because it kind of was. You'd walk into one of the groups, or the 100 versus 100 over at Torrin Mill.
And just
You just
watch the blood flow.
death ran to your body, pretty much.
Yeah. That's not like I don't know. I feel like I was familiar with like a separate PvP area with WoW the times I played it, but I guess that wasn't
Yeah,
possible.
probably worse on Gulch.
Yeah.
Maybe a capture the flag thing.
Yeah, maybe. It's just like it's like so not what I think of that game for, but obviously it's a lot of like what you've talked about, what you guys think of that game for, so it's just different. It's cool.
Right. So that happened, and now you can quest again. So that's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I appreciate that you will someday be max level.
Oh no, I hit max level.
God damn it! I'm I'm always behind. So you hit.
I did it last week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I appreciate that you hit max level and you're still playing though. That's cool. WoW's got you, dude.
I also went through Molten Core for the first time on this character.
Oh, cool.
Well,
Is that like a big raid? I see.
yeah, it's a 40 man.
Okay. That sounds cool. I just don't know what I would do in a situation like much like all situations where I'm like there with 39 other people. I don't know what I would do for the.
It's okay. Somebody'll clue you in.
Okay. Because Justin, I talked to friend of the show Justin Graffius about like how do raids work in Final Fantasy 14? They're like 8% or whatever. I guess there are some that have more in that game. But he's like, yeah, these people go here and they do this thing, and you're the healers and you're all together. I'm like, this sounds wild. I don't know what kind of weird raids y'all are playing. But I'm telling you, we got to line up, 3 of us spaced together. I'm going to shoot this thing. It's going to connect a tether to all of us. Hear me out. So, yeah. Destiny maybe is weird.
It is very similar to how a Destiny raid would play out, except for it is much more group oriented. So it's less of every person has their own job, but everybody is split into a category, and there's probably 4 or 5 jobs to do.
Like healer or DPS or
for example, for a very simple fight.
Okay.
You split the raid into 3 groups. Each group has a tank, and you have to make sure they are, I want to say, 20 yards away from each other at least.
Okay.
In roughly a circle. All right, so you pull the boss. One set of the groups does damage.
What do the other two
Or
groups do?
the range people do damage. The melee people don't do shit. They do absolutely nothing. You stand there.
Got it.
So what happens is, I guess I should say, the third group is just the tank,
Okay.
right? So this boss, after a couple 30 seconds or so, he's going to teleport to another person.
Okay.
Which is why you have to be grouped, because it'll be a random person, and if everybody's grouped, the tank can just taunt it.
Got it.
So the group that he teleports to has to run to where he was previously,
Okay.
and that is the entire fight.
So it's just like following this guy around.
It is running away from the guy, essentially.
Okay. That's
But
cool.
you have to do it in an organized manner and not scatter, in case he just teleports to, let's say, worst case scenario, he teleports onto a healer and away from a tank, so he just one shots about 3 or 4 people before a tank finally gets him.
Got it. Interesting. See, it's cool to learn how those kinds of fights work, though. It's different than
During
what I
the
know.
break, you should watch one of the Fat Boss WoW rig. They're 5-minute videos that explain encounters. They're pretty interesting, especially if you don't know a lot about how WoW raids can work,
Mm-hmm.
or the big format, because it's the pretty straightforward explanation of a bunch of mechanics. So you might find it interesting.
I love that shit.
Yeah, I think a good one to look at is
Operator Thogak.
Yes, from WoD.
Okay.
Right? It's the train one.
Yeah. Yep.
That one was good.
Okay. I'll look it up. Have you played anything else this week, Scott?
No, it's just those two.
Tony Horvath,
Hey.
video games. Path of Exile
I'm
season started.
So, throughout the beginning of this week, I sunsetted League of Legends for the time being.
No.
So yeah, I'm not playing any League for the next two or
Hours.
2 hours.
yeah, it's 3 days. I'm clean.
Wow. I mean, do you think you'll bring it back just because you're bored or something?
So only thing that annoys me about it is that I have 75 prestige points from events throughout the year. You need 100 to. On the last day that I was playing, they launched the last event of the year. Which if I max out the event, I get the last 25. I need to get one of the rare skins before they expire, and you can never get them again.
Yeah.
So if I were to play again, I would have to commit to playing a lot to get all that, because otherwise the points are kind of useless from the other 3 events that I was grinding pretty hard for. So we'll see, because I think those events last a while. But yeah, I don't know. I want to play Path of Exile, which the new league started a couple days ago. So I figure I really don't have time to play both of these games. So I'm just gonna not play League,
Yeah, and that's responsible. That's the right call. It's me with Destiny 2 and everything else. I'm like, I could just play Destiny 2, or I could play everything else.
So I played some
also
League.
kind of done with Destiny 2, though?
No, the new seasons of that's just started. I peeked my toe into that, and that seems very cool. My hope is to play Destiny in the times when no other video games are coming out. So it's more chill for me.
You peeked your toe?
I dipped my toe
Okay.
into the pool. I did not peek it, but I might. We'll see. The Season of Dawn stuff seems cool. I guess I could have talked about that. That was last week, but this is a new rotating event that's only going to be there for this season. That's really fun, and it seems like there's going to be little bits of lore that come out each week, kind of like they did with Season of the Undying. So my hope is just maybe check in every Tuesday and then not have to play anymore throughout the week. But I'm sorry, Tony, continue.
Oh, I mean, it's all good. But so yeah, I don't know. For the past 2 or 3 months, it would just be I'd be sitting there all right, well, I need a new game to play. Because because I'm just playing League.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting for the new Path League to start. So that was this week. Metamorph League has begun. I was trying to get Scott to play, but he's never going to play this game, I don't think. So it's okay.
No, I don't think so either.
But yeah, so I kind of basically that came out, started on Friday. So I went to work early in the morning, got all my stuff done for the day, got home about an hour before the league started. Went to the local grocery store and bought 70 cans of Mountain Dew Game Fuel. No, I'm just kidding.
I know you're kidding, but I love it.
Yeah, dude, blue flavor only is the best one.
Yeah, Gamer Fuel, dude.
It's actually, but there's an actual product called Mountain Dew Game Fuel.
Yes. It's it's fuel that will charge your games.
Product,
yeah. Weird.
Anyway, so...
unrelated to anything else that we would ever talk about, you know?
Anyway, so I came home and I had been planning what I wanted to do because, with Path, it's very planning heavy. Everybody, builds are very in depth, and you kind of want to have a direction of where you want to take at least the beginning of your league before you start. So it was like I had already kind of picked what I wanted to do. So the last hour before the league started was just kind of like making sure all my trade macro was up to date. My path of building was up to date, and all that stuff was ready to go. My game got updated, all that, so I was ready to go. League started, and then I basically blacked out for 13 hours. And then
it's the way you do it,
Yeah. Then I was like, oh, I need to be at work pretty soon. So I slept for like 2.5 hours, and I went and worked a 12-hour.
Oh, now I'm glad that we didn't record yesterday, Tony.
And then I got home from work, and then played for another 12. And then I passed out and slept for 6 hours, and I've been playing all day today.
Sounds like it's been a fun time.
Good. Yeah, I'm off today, and I got the day off tomorrow too. So I basically was just like, I'm playing Path of Exile, and that's my life for the next 4 days, other than work 2 of them.
Fuck yes.
But yeah, dude, I've been going fucking hard, and it's good. Like I didn't go really hard in the last 2 Path League, so it's kind of been 6 months since the last time I played the game pretty intensively.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a good time. This league changed a bunch of stuff. The game is harder now than it used to be. All the bosses are much tankier and do way more damage.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't just steamroll through stuff, and it's actually progressing through stuff kind of gets a little bit difficult near the end of the story, and kind of the beginning of maps is pretty. So there's a lot more risk associated with it. The league mechanic is pretty neat. You as you're running around through the map, all of the elite mobs will drop a body part when they die. So they'll drop a lung or a liver or an eye or a brain or something like that. There are 5 different parts. You want to collect them from all the elite mobs throughout the map, and then you can summon this dude who's got a massive vial, and he will combine all the parts that you choose into a boss of your own creation.
Whoa, that's cool.
And specific nodes or specific body parts that you pick up will have different rewards. So there's some specific body parts will ensure that your create a boss drops additional currency items or drops additional rare, and you kind of pick that, and then the high, there are different qualities of body parts that you get throughout the map. So the boss of the map always drops a body part, and those will be the highest quality. And the quality, the more high quality parts you put in, the harder the boss is going to be. So they have percent by scaling health, damage. They'll get more modifiers to what they can do. They may spawn more additional enemies for you to fight and do different abilities and all that. So they get harder, and as they do that, the quality of that additional rare item or additional currency will also go up by %. So you get 500% more of whatever items you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of pick and choose and try and create something that matches your power level. So you don't make something, because you can absolutely make things that fuck you up.
That sounds cool.
There have been metamorph bosses that I've made that have just basically insta killed me, and I was like, Okay.
I ain't
Can't
even
do
mad.
that. Bail out.
Yeah.
Bail out. This is one of the scariest leagues ever to play hardcore in.
Oh yeah, if your character can die for real.
Yeah, dudes. Like because they they're and they also changed a bunch of the racing stuff. They nerfed a lot of the old racing meta things like skills that racers. So the whole community for speedrunning the game and all that was like turned on its head. And all the streamers and stuff were trying to figure out what to do now that like like the tried and true methods all kind of got changed around. But anyway, so like in the first day of the league, all the streamers died like twice, which normally they'll play for like 14 hours and then might die in a map or something on the first day. But because dying in those guys who are really good at the game dying while leveling is very like strange. And them spawning some metamorph bosses that just absolutely destroy them is it's like heart wrenching at the same time as being really fucking cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And like I feel like challenge has never necessarily been the primo thing here. So
the streamers and stuff are typically playing solo self-found hardcore, which is hardcore, so your character dies, it's gone. And solo self-found means there's no trading, so you only get what drops for you.
Got it.
Yes, you have to craft all your own stuff. Any uniques that you get, you can't just buy, so you have to figure out, you have to get them somehow.
That's really cool.
It's interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going in Path, and it's been a good league so far just to to be a part of.
Seeing
there
this,
there are a lot of us playing too from the old BDO guild.
Cool. Seeing this, like, I know this is like probably a difficult question for me to ask you, not the developer, but like, do you feel like this in any way like leads into a Path of Exile 2, or do you think that they're amping up into that?
No, this is pretty par for the course, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of have a structure of big release, little release, little release, big release.
Okay.
As far as their content goes, there's a really interesting video of a talk given by one of the developers of Path on how they designed it to be played forever.
That's cool.
I'll link it. It's very
send that to me.
It's very interesting. Your question is answered pretty specifically in that talk.
Okay.
And that the way that they build their leagues is not necessarily as a lead up for things. I mean, if anything, the smaller ones are lead ups to the smaller patches, and the smaller leagues are lead ups to the leagues where they make sweeping large changes.
Yeah.
And this one is just, it kind of feels like a more of a smaller one. Like there are always big balance changes before a league. They always do that, and it's kind of like shakes up the meta. They'll take the stuff that was super powerful and kind of tone it down a bit, and then take things that were not previously very powerful and give them pretty like massive buffs. This league, the big buffs that they put out weren't all that big, so the meta is pretty equal right now, where typically whatever they buff is kind of dominant for the league. So everybody plays this league. Like last league or 2 leagues ago, they buffed melee really hard, so everybody was playing Cyclone, which is basically Whirlwind Barbarian, and it was a cool league. And then in this league, they absolutely destroyed melee. So that was like the big nerf. So and then like last league was all necromancers and summoning abilities that got the big buffs. And now this league, it was bow skill, but they didn't get massive buffs. They just kind of got good buffs. So now they're just as good as some of the other things.
Cool.
So it's not super dominant, at least not yet. Bow builds have typically been very expensive and not very good league starters. And since the league's only 3 days old, a lot of people are playing the builds that are easy to level with and scale really easily because of the way their gems are set up.
Cool.
I'm not going to get into it, but it's technical how some gems scale differently than other ones, which allow them to like level with you easier than just getting a level 20 gem and it being really strong.
Is the game good at communicating that to you as a player though?
It's as good as it has always been, which is not. It's like
not very good.
You need to like, it is so deep that, and it's not, the game is not going to hold your hand and tell you like you should pick a passive, you should pick this other passive because it might be a good idea,
complements your skills, or I gotcha.
Right, like they do that in grouping them in ways that make sense.
Okay.
So like you might find like certain notable nodes near other notable nodes that go. So like, you know, in one certain section of the passive tree, you'll have increased critical strikes when you're holding a staff, and then you'll have another thing that's like increased block chance, and all that, and increased maximum mana, so like caster things, and then like right above that'll be like extra lightning damage, or right next to that's extra fire damage. So if you're in that area, depending on which of those two, if you do lightning or fire damage or cold damage or whatever, you can get that part of you can build towards that part. And then right next to all those might be, something that gives you extra spell damage and stuff like that. Or if you're on the other side of the tree, you might have all these melee nodes that are put together, and with those you'll get like life leech and sustain stuff and all that. So it's kind of like they push you the direction that you go in, it'll push you towards notables that you already wanted anyway, and that's kind of how they help you like to get the right stuff. So you don't have to go all over the place and like pick stuff up that you have to go super far across the entire passive tree to get to. It's kind of intuitive in that way, but they definitely don't say like this is the recommended path for you to go.
Yeah, I get you. Interesting. Cool. It still sounds cool though. Did you play anything else?
Scott to play.
Did you play anything else before the Path of Exile League started?
No, I had a really long week of work.
I got you. Cool.
I'll join.
Here we go.
I'll join the Path of Exile League.
Yeah.
This one just started. It's going to be around for 4 months.
When the 4 of us conquer Final Fantasy 14.
Okay. That's coming soon. Justin and I are trying to wrap up Dark Souls 3 and start that in the new year. So I bought Final Fantasy 14 this week. Words I never thought I'd say.
I thought it was free.
The expansions and all that you have to pay for. So I have everything now. You can start it for free though.
Yeah.
It's I think up through level 25 is free. Kind of like I think World of Warcraft does the same thing now. Cool. That's it for video games. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll go over the news of the Game Awards, the awards of the games that are news. And we will be back in just a little bit. taking us live again. Hey everyone. Oh, hold on one sec. I forgot my water bottle.
It's like a
It's
whole.
it's on the table. It's right behind me. I put it down. Sorry. Be right back. I forget things.
Yeah.
Like my auxiliary cord. Ow! I hit my head. Hold on. One sec. Everybody relax. Pretend like this isn't in the video. When you're watching on YouTube. It's not going to be in the podcast. That's for sure. Oh, alright.
When we fantasy league, dude.
I figured in January. But do you want to get out like before Kakarot and stuff? You want to do it this week? Just you and me?
Whatever you want to, man.
I'd be down this week. I've been thinking about it a lot. I haven't thought about my picks at all, though, which is... Because, I mean, I guess you could just take whatever you want from me. But we are going to record it this time, right? I would like to.
If you want to.
What are you talking about?
Fantasycritic.game is...
Oh, I think you guys mentioned this before.
Mm-hmm. We're going to get... I want to do one on the regular podcast with you and Scott, because I think you guys would think it's fun. Just like draft games based on how well you think they will review. And then depending on the Open Critic review average, you get points for it. Any point above 70 is worth 1 point. Any point above 90 is worth 2 points, right?
Yeah.
So if it reviews well, you get points. If it doesn't review well, if it's below, you can get negative points even. But there's like other parts to it, like you can counter pick. If you think a pick that somebody else has is actually going to review poorly, you can pick that one as a counter pick, and you get points for how poorly it does, and they lose points for how poorly it does. Things like that. It's cool. All right. News in gaming. I feel like it's always so weirdly like quiet. Maybe I'm just crazy. The Game Awards news. It happened. The Game Awards were this past Thursday. Scott, Tony, you guys watch it all?
Oh yeah. I was watching it at the same time as I was watching Critical Role.
Nice.
And I was gonna mention this during the break, but I don't know if you knew this. I was watching both since they happened at the same time, and it was like getting close to like the time to pick best voice actor.
And Laura Bailey was getting all nervous.
Well, she was at the Game Awards.
Oh yeah,
and not on Critical Role.
Okay.
And, so they were saying like, Laura's not here because she's was nominated for an award, so she's there tonight anyway. So it's coming up. It was coming up on like about to be time for that award to be presented, and lo and behold, guess who shows up at the table? Laura Bailey walks in wearing the fucking dress that she was wearing at the Game Awards. She was like, I wanted to be here for Dungeons and Dragons. Fuck the Game Awards.
Yeah, and then they fucking gave it to Mads Mikkelsen.
She was like, I really hope they don't pick me. It would be super awkward if I just wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, that's funny.
Laura Bailey's the best.
Laura Bailey is the best. Agreed. What did you think of the show, Nabishan?
That was okay.
Was it better or worse than last year? I asked the tough questions.
I don't think it was as good as last year's.
Really? Okay.
I don't think there's I don't think there's like enough heart in it, which was weird to say. Even though like like I know he puts his heart into it. I mean like more of like there wasn't like any like recognizing like an old game developer or
it didn't have that soulful moment.
Yeah,
I get it. Reggie was as close as we got, which was still very good, but I agree it was not quite the same.
It it felt almost reminiscent of the older ones as far as like like structure, but like it was still good for what it was. It's just more of like and like it was entertaining right from beginning to end. Like I was entertained the entire time. It's just I don't know, like there wasn't like a hook to it. I don't know. There was something off.
There's a human element that wasn't there, I think.
There you go.
Yeah,
it
I
felt
think
very by the numbers, I guess you would say.
yeah, that's a good way to put it too. I think that, like I'm with you. I didn't like consciously. I don't consciously know exactly what was off as well, but yes, I get it. So I don't know. I liked it as well. I thought I don't know if I thought it was better or worse than I was maybe probably on par with last year. I don't really remember last year's Game Awards that well. I don't remember what the bombshell moment of last year's Game Awards was. But regardless, there's a lot of fun announcements. Keeley was clearly very proud of the show, like that he got to announce a lot of big things for the first time at his show, right? And I think that's cool. I think that's something to be proud of. The headliner story, if you haven't heard, I'm sure everyone's heard, but Xbox Series X, the unveiling of what was once Project Scarlet, the next Xbox, the beginning of next gen. We are in it. The next box. Or, as a lot of people have been calling it, the Xbox Sex, because it's SEX, Series X.
Xbox Series.
Yeah, I just call it the Xbox Series. A lot of people.
Serious.
Oh, the Xbox Series. Xbox Series Black. The Harry Potter crossover console.
On Xbox.
How do you feel about the name? Everybody, feel free to chime in here.
It's almost as good as Xbox 2 would have.
Do you think
almost as good as PS Vita?
It means life, Scott. Vita means life.
PlayStation Life.
Don't you guys get it? I don't mind the name. I don't think it's bad. I guess a lot of people were confused about it. I thought it was kind of clear as to like, okay, like this is clearly not just going to be one thing in the grand scheme of things.
Well, I mean, they might as well have called it Xbox Turbo Ultra Special Edition.
And then the next one is Turbo Ultra Special Edition Max 2.
It would be 4 Max 2.
Yeah, you're right. What do you think, Namshin?
This is fine.
It's just fun. Yeah, it is fine. I don't know. I like it. I liked it right away just because I feel like it conveys like, oh, okay, this is what this thing is going for, like, which was a little bit in question, I think, before this of like, we talked about, are they going to do like half steps, half measure, like slightly more powerful consoles in the future? I think they are. I think Xbox clearly is. And I think that's fine. Like, I think if they're open about it, I don't know, like, exactly what that means in 6 years when things would be changing or new consoles would be coming out. Like, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and find out. It's cool. I don't know. I'm one of those people that gets excited anytime new consoles are announced. I know, like, Scott, Tony, you guys, it's not your market. It's not even a thing that, I don't know if any of you are either considering this at all. I don't know why you would, but I like it. I get excited about it. That was like the big moment, I would say. And then they also unveiled Hellblade 2, which is called Senua's Saga: Hellblade 2, which I loved. I really loved this trailer for it. I love Hellblade a lot, and I'm really they kind of left it open to go somewhere with a sequel, and I honestly just thought they weren't going to make a sequel because I didn't think that game was going to be successful for Ninja Theory, but it ended up being successful, and obviously Microsoft purchased them. So I'm really intrigued at the idea of them doing another one of these games. And I wonder if it inherits a lot of like what made that first game special, if like the voices aspect of it, if it's going to be there. Obviously it should be. But how does that come back? I don't know. But I was really into Senua's Saga. Was there any Nabishin, what got you most excited?
Probably the closest thing was the Xbox reveal, but um, yeah, just pretty much just that. I can't really like,
None of the games necessarily spoke to you.
not necessarily like the No More Heroes 3 is like cool, but like
It's a great trailer.
yeah, but yeah, it's just I don't know. It was just a good show. Nothing really like popped out to me this year.
Sure. I'll go through a couple other ones just so we can breeze through it. Big one, Scott, if you hadn't heard, Bravely Default 2 was announced. Which I hope you had heard. If not, I'm happy to tell you. Wasn't Bravely Second Bravely Default 2? I don't know, Scott. Why is this game named Bravely Default 2?
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's curious. And to be fair, like going off of like the stuff that you've told us about the story of Bravely Default, I think that maybe could play into it. But they showed like it's coming out in 2020, sometime next year. And they showed like it just a lot of art of like, hey, like remember Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default and the guys that drew that, they're drawing this shit too. And shot of the characters, all new characters, and a crystal. But yeah, very ambiguous, just a little bit of tone and music with that one. But Bravely Default 2 coming out soon. Godfall was announced as a slasher looter, a sloosher, if I may. That is going to be a launch game for PlayStation 5, published by Gearbox, developed by it sounds like a new studio that we don't really know much about. That looked weird. That whole thing was weird for me. 2 new like standalone League of Legends story games were announced that I guess will be single player games. One is going to be a turn-based RPG from some of the guys that made Battle Chasers and Darksiders, and the other will be a platformer, an action platformer that had like a 2D hand-drawn art style. It was very cool. A bunch of Magic the Gathering games got announced. There's a new Final Fantasy VII remake trailer. And they're making a Fast and Furious game. Those are, I think, like the big announcements. It's like both a Magic MMO and a Magic action RPG, I guess, are coming.
Dude, let's talk about Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel came on stage.
Yeah, he did.
I guess Michelle Rodriguez was supposed to walk off stage for when he came on, so the fact that they were both on and like they were trying to talk to each other is what lent it to being very awkward.
I thought it was all right. I got to look at Vin Diesel's
Yeah, Vin Diesel.
That man cute.
He's a good-looking dude. He's also like, I feel like maybe it was just the microphone, but he looked enormous.
Oh yeah, he was leaning down a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, like the whole thing about this is like, why is he there again?
To announce a Fast and Furious game and Game of the Year, I guess. But like, yeah, it was weird.
Oh, so he was there to announce the fact. Okay, is he a part of that in any shape?
He's in that game. There's mo capture and voiceover that he does for it. So it is like
that makes sense.
Yeah, but even still, it was like not a great looking game, to be honest. Like the Fast and Furious game, and it being like here's our special guests for the evening, Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel. It was weird.
I think that's something you actually should look at, Scott, just to see
the Fast and Furious game.
This is a game that's coming out in 2020 type of thing.
Yeah, this game comes out next year, and it looks like a 360 game. Yeah, it's something. I don't know. Maybe if it plays well, maybe it'll be good. It just felt like such a weird thing. It feels like a cash grab, you know? And it's like, why does this have such big play at the Game Awards? Maybe because they paid for it. I don't know. Surgeon Simulator 2.
I mean, I feel like a lot of companies have kind of figured out YouTube exists.
Yeah.
You know? Like there are other ways to announce your game than paying a lot of money for it to be at an award show that, you know,
that it doesn't really fit into. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But there's almost 1 million people watching, so why not?
Yeah. I mean, you're right, but at the same time, you know, are you going to reach a bigger audience that way, or is it worth the extra money to reach a slightly bigger audience than you could through your normal social media?
Or like put it in movie theaters with the next Fast and Furious movie. Just like
Just a mid-roll ad of
a
the movie.
in the movie, Vin Diesel walks up to the camera. I'd like to take a break to talk about a new game project I'm working on.
Use code Vin.
Use special code Vin on the Epic Game Store to get 50%.
Exactly.
Actually, I think we should be marketing people, Tony. I think we've got it fucking figured.
I'm full of this shit, bro.
I got nothing but good ideas up here. Surgeon Simulator 2 was announced, and The Wolf Among Us 2 was re-announced. I tweeted at Nabishin when The Wolf Among Us 2 was announced, saying this one was for us. That's a good one. I'm excited about that. It's concerning that I guess not a lot of people that worked on what was done for the original Wolf Among Us Season 2 are coming back, but that game is getting finished and done by some Telltale studio. So hopefully it'll be good. One I never thought I would see again. It's like that's me and The Wolf Among Us. I feel it's like I guess we'll never get Season 2, and then we got it, and then it was canceled, and it's like all right, and now we're getting it again. Supposedly, I'll believe it when I see it. Any big thoughts, feelings? It definitely feels like the Game Awards were. It was not as much of a bombshell as it is normally.
I felt like it came and went.
It came and went.
It's like it got forgotten as soon as it came out. Well, not forgotten, but
It's funny because I feel like a lot of the things that were recognized, like the things that actually received the awards, I thought it was a good spread. It felt like more things got their time in the spotlight. All the things that I wanted to get talked about got talked about, except for Resident Evil 2. But Death Stranding won a couple of things. Control won one thing. Disco Elysium won a lot of things. Sekiro won Game of the Year.
That was the feel good thing. That was I felt like Disco Elysium, just overcoming everything.
Yeah. And they won 4 awards, Yeah,
mainstream wise, I don't think anybody knows that game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what is this game that's winning all these awards? And I felt like that's the real make good. That and of course Sekiro. Those are the real make goods as far as the Game Awards, I felt.
Yeah, was it you that you were texting me or somebody that said that Miyazaki being able to get on stage and be recognized as justice for him essentially creating a genre and influencing almost an entire generation of video games?
I think I tweeted that.
Yeah, I think you tweeted it. And it's it is, and it feels good. And it's a good way to put it. Whether recognized for the Souls games or Bloodborne or whatever, Miyazaki as a video game director has changed video games fundamentally for many AAA developers, and it's cool. It's a good feeling. It is weird that Resident Evil 2 won nothing, things like that.
I'm not too surprised by that because I can see the as far as the votes coming in, it's it's still just a remake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's a dismissive way of saying it, but I think that's kind of the general feeling. This has been done before. It was done very well. It's this is a game that's been established already. So we can recognize something else other than that.
Yeah, there was the Fans Voice Award too, I guess was the game that the fans wanted to recognize that wasn't, and it was Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is really cool. It was it felt okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I was keeping track of that when that was happening. It's because you could vote for any game that wasn't, not any game, but they had a set list, and it had Star Wars and Fire Emblem on there. Because people were saying, hey, I want this to get more representation. So Fire Emblem overcame Star Wars, so that's cool.
That is cool.
I'm pretty sure that was a Reddit thing.
Yeah, and it speaks to, I'm sure the audience that is watching is the exact audience that would play Fire Emblem and maybe not watch Star Wars, maybe, or isn't the Star Wars audience as a whole. So yeah, it makes sense, and it's cool. It's how things would have and should have played out, I think. Yeah, we don't have to spend too much time talking about it. I was really excited. I really liked the Xbox Series X announcement. I liked that that happened before the end of the year. I liked it. I like the idea of going into 2020 at least having an idea of what to expect at this point, and where things go from here is just really exciting. And obviously, like, we don't have a lot of downtime. Like, video games are coming out very soon into 2020, and like Ori and the Will of the Wisps is like week 2 of February.
All you need to know is we're getting
March
next year.
Oh, March. Fuck, I forgot they deleted that. That was like my first game, if you couldn't tell. So now it's like Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I had a good time. I'm excited for Game Awards. What did you say, Tony? I'm sorry.
I said it's all right. We already know next year is going to be a banger because we're getting Animal Crossing next year. It's
Exactly. Not only are we getting Animal Crossing, but many other things as well. But we are getting Animal Crossing.
Those don't matter.
Okay.
'Cause we're getting Animal Crossing.
All right. Understood. March is going to be a good month, Tony. I get a good feeling. I'm excited to learn your ways, Tony. You're going to come to me and you're going to have like 15 million turnips or something and like rolling in $12.8 million in actual
Listen,
cash.
dude, every space on the ground of my village is full of 500 turnips.
I had to bury them somewhere. Yeah. So that's the Game Awards. That's the show. I did not pull any questions for this week. But if you'd like to send questions to, I guess actually real quick before we exit out of news, a couple other things happened this week. State of Play happened. It's hard to think that all this happened the same week. There's a Nintendo Indie World that happened that was really cool. State of Play that happened. They both happened on Tuesday. Big takeaways from that. Axiom Verge 2 was announced, which is really cool. I'm interested in a sequel to Axiom Verge. I did not love the first one as much as everybody else, but I liked it. I'd like to see how that could improve and where they could go. And Resident Evil 3 Remake was announced. It was leaked a couple weeks ago, but it has now been officially announced. And I'm still like amazed that game is like a fully functional real video game that comes out in April. So that was really cool. I was like one of the people that I didn't believe that RE3 was like going to be early next year or was like that close around the corner, but it is like very soon. April 3rd, I believe. That's it. Oh, and Sekiro got a release date. Or not Sekiro. God, that speaks to
Sekiro's coming out.
that speaks to me getting those games confused. Ghost of Tsushima got a release date. Summer 2020 release window. Those are that. Now I've done my due diligence, I think, of the big things. Now, if you'd like to be a part of the show, mailsack, when we do have questions, when I do ask for questions, mailsack@irrationalpatch.com. It's the email address, 404-590-1337 is the phone number. Long distance fees apply, just keep it in mind. Or you can tweet your questions at irrationalpod. And I'll read them on the show. If you use IPQ with as a hashtag in that, it'll make it easier for me to find. I think that's it. Let's throw this bad boy out. Real quick, follow the show on Twitter at irrationalpod. Follow me at Nobishan at alfighter27 at Nobishan186 respectively. We actually use Twitter, so you can talk to us there. See our videos on Twitch and YouTube. Irrational Passions is what it's under on both. Rate and review us wherever you listen to the show, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever. And check out irrationalpassions.com because there's a lot of great stuff up there. So I want to throw this out there for folks listening. Irrationalpassions.com is going to be shuttering its doors for the holidays to some extent. So the editorial staff going to be completely off from December 23rd through January 3rd. We're probably not going to be using the Twitter that much. As far as like my plans right now is like this podcast we will continue to do unless you guys want to take the time off. And RPG University is still going to go up in that time down, but there's not really going to be any tweets. It's not going to be anything on the website. We are taking some time off to recuperate. So we've done a lot. If you've been reading irrationalpassion.com this year, there's a lot of stuff that's gone up. A lot of people have been working hard. We're not doing anything Game of the Year until 2020, so don't expect any of that from us. But all that stuff is going to go up in the first few weeks of January, and then we're going to be at PAX at the end of February. And then Irrational Passions turns 10 in July, and E3 is in June. So it's gonna be a big year. I have a good feeling about it. But I want to I think this would be close to the last episode we would record before that break goes up. I want people to know about it ahead of time. We're gonna put some kind of tweet about it this week out there. But yeah, we're gonna go offline. Website will still be up and accessible. It's not like it'll shut down or anything. But it's not gonna be anything going on. We need to relax. Everybody needs to chill. So just want to give everyone the heads up. Thanks to everyone that has listened to this podcast in 2019 or check the website. Like this, for this show, we just passed 100,000 total downloads, which is pretty cool. I think if you start doing the math on that one, it turns out to be not as cool, but it's cool for us. And that's a cool thing. People have really been checking out the stuff that we've done on the website. This show, been sending in questions to the show a lot more this last year. It's been a really great year for us. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who listens. If you're listening now, I love you very much. And I appreciate all the support you've shown us. Hopefully when next year starts and things start getting real buck wild, you will continue to support us or want us to support us in more bigger ways. So look out for that. No, there's nothing specific planned, just to be clear, but I just really appreciate everyone. And hopefully we'll have more merch. That's my only big plan of 2020 right now is if you'd like to support us, you'll be able to buy merch from us, and that'll be cool. But yeah, it's been a great year for us, and we're taking some time off to celebrate that, and hopefully everyone understands and appreciates that. And I thank you boys. I know I've been lackadaisical about our recording schedule lately, but it's just because my life is a mess. But you guys have been great, and this podcast is always fun and cheers me up a whole bunch. So thank you, boys. Now we can end the show. No more sappy stuff. I promise. We've reached the end of the show, which means I think it's time for our final bets segment of 2019. I thought about it, we could do bets for the next couple of weeks, but I feel we're out of when everything is happening. I think it's time to total everything up to tally it up. Let's take a look. Who do you guys think won the Game Awards bets?
We did.
We all did. But who do you think got the most guesses right?
The gamer.
The one true gamer amongst us, Scott Guthier. You're correct. Scott got 13 of the categories right, which was the most of any of us. Congrats, Scott. I owe you a burrito. Don't say that you're surprised or blown away or anything, because you knew. You're an elite gamer. Watching industry trends. No, good job, Scott. You had 13 points. Nabishin and I had 12, which tells you how close we were. Tony had 9. Because
the big wrong boy over there.
Tony, to be fair,
Wait, what?
there were 2 esports categories that only Tony got right, and the rest of us got all wrong.
I figured that much.
Start over. I want to hear the things.
So I got 12 points. This is guessing the categories. Who's going to win? I got 12 right. Scott got 13. Tony, you got 9. Nabishin got 12.
I could tell you why. Is because on all the things that were unanimous, I picked the different one.
Yeah, you picked something different.
Yeah.
And that worked out sometimes and it didn't other times. So I respect it.
And yeah, I had a clean sweep of the esports section, except for the one where I said, this is probably going to win, but I don't think it should because they kind of sucked and they won anyway.
Yeah, it won. Which was the Fortnite guy, I think.
No, I was right about that. I'm talking about.
I was thinking of things you got.
I'm talking about the best esports. The team
Commentator.
Oh yeah.
No, commentator. I got right.
Oh, okay.
Best esports team. I have to scroll down on the document. Yeah, we were talking about G2. I was saying G2 did not actually perform all that well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really. I don't think that they should win, but they are probably the ones that will win.
Yep.
I picked OG because they were what I thought would be what would win if G2 didn't, and of course G2 got it anyway, even though they kind of sucked.
Got him. As for the bets, me and Tony got 7 right. Scott and Nabishin got 5 right. And unless we don't want to count the Goku's one, or not the Goku's one. There was another one.
The Konami one?
Yeah, the Konami one, because nothing happened with Konami, but I don't know, that was kind of like the words of the bet. Maybe I was just the Bayonetta one. That's what I was thinking. Because there was no Bayonetta thing shown, so technically a new hairdo wasn't shown. But it also, she wasn't shown at all. So if we didn't want to count that one,
I feel like that's part of the bet.
yeah, I think so
Because
too.
I think if Bayonetta was shown at all, she probably would have had a new hair.
Yeah, that's fair. But that brings, if we're not counting the actual Game Awards themselves bets, which wouldn't really make a difference at this point, it's just more numbers. That brings team about to bust a bet up to 37 points, and team doubling down 30 points. Or yes, 37 to 30. Those are the final ranks. The Juniper Grove, again, don't remember when we thought of that name. 24 points, which I would say is still impressive given that we didn't necessarily have a fifth chair every single episode this week or this year. I got an idea for next year for the bets, but I'm gonna keep it close to the chest because it's hype. I'm warning you. I'll tell you all once we're in 2020, but it's gonna be good. I think this is the one where it's really gonna get shaken up a lot. That's it. That's the show. That's the end of bets, as we know it. Next week we'll just start doing Ore Wars. No, we won't. But I'll think fondly of Ore Wars every single night this week. That's all I got. You guys ready to close this bad boy out? We got a little titles left.
I'm
good here. Cool. Thank you to everyone who's listening or watching us live. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for opening music of Two Player Co-op. The World is Saved. For our closing music, very good. Thank you, Nabishin. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Scott, for joining me as always. I love you, boys. Big hugs all the way around. I've been Alex O'Neill. Play your games. Stay rational. We will talk to you all next week. Titles.
Yo, I heard you like Mudkipz. I peeked my toe. Why so Series X?
That's the most Nabishin joke I've ever fucking heard. I love you.
And use promo code VIN.
Oh, why so Series X? Oh my goodness, dude. Have you been sitting on that one all week?
Honestly, dude, like I thought it was 2 weeks ago when I was coming home from work. I laughed in my car and I said, God, I hope I don't forget about this.
I can totally see that. Yes. 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 I refuse to hear what anyone else has to say. Yes. Why so Series X? Can't say it without laughing.
All right.
All right. Nabishan, I want you to say the episode title, and I'll say the number.
Okay.
You're listening to the Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 450.
Why so Series X?
I'm sorry. That was too good. I like all these titles, though. The thing about I Hear You Like Mudkipz, though, is it has a Z at the end of it. I Hear You Like Mudkipz. I don't know why. It's just how the internet deemed it. You can stop recording now. We did it. That was a good one, guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a good night. I'm taking us offline. Shutting the shit down.